Another piece I'm going to give you within this talk is we're going to chat about it a little bit. We're going to kind of open up the constructs of how and where and, you know, self-sabotage can hold itself in our body. It can definitely hold its story very solidly in our mind and how we communicate to ourselves from a day-to-day basis. So one way of discussing that, or one way of talking about that, is our kind of internal chatter. I want to have a little discussion, hold a little bit of space for everybody. We'll tune in first. And then at the end of the discussion, we're going to come into what I feel is a very empowering, very um, upper body, shoulders, neck, heart, which does tend to be where a lot of physical restrictions will occur when we go into and again, we're not always aware of this, but subconsciously we go into some type of pattern that brings us down some self-sabotaging ways. And so I find this exercise really expands it and really kind of opens this area: heart, shoulders, neck, and in between the shoulder blades. So the exercise we're going to do at the end of this is quite powerful, and you can get as deep and kind of invigorated as you choose to, which again, we had talked about previously about how we can utilize our emotions. And one of the things that came up for me this morning is that anger piece. And I talked briefly about that. Super important. We could have a whole discussion on just that emotion in of itself, but how that can actually start to be useful and be a really important feature in our emotional construct to push us through something when we're feeling really stale or feeling like we're really having a hard time moving forward or letting go or so on and so forth. Self-sabotage can kind of hold itself in that area as well. And we're not going to go into the emotional piece today, but instead I want to offer the opportunity to go into a movement in our body that actually kind of is meant to activate and energize the system, the solar plexus. It's meant to activate the heart space, and it's kind of that whole upper body circulation and activation. So if you can stay until the end of the little chit chat here, that's kind of what we're going to do today. So again, thank you for joining. Thank you for listening in. And I'm just going to get everyone, first of all, to just kind of today, and especially for where I'm at, I think the tone that I want to really set is really feeling out the body. So we're going to do a little bit of kind of shaking things out. You can activate with the hands, of course. That is for me, just I do it all the time. I don't even realize I'm doing it. Just sometimes when I'm feeling a little outside of myself, it just really helps to bring me back into who I am, and I'm not feeling everybody else's energy. But again, everyone is so unique and so different. So find the theme, find the tools that work for you. Ultimately, I just want everyone to kind of bring themselves into their physical form, because we are going to be working on some movement later on. So move out the shoulders, move the back. If you're in a bed, on a couch, wherever you happen to be watching this, just kind of explore what it is to move your body in this moment. Begin to rotate through the shoulder joints, begin to open and release through the neck. And of course, because our neck, our muscles, they go 360 degrees. So of course, when we're tight or when we're not speaking our truth, everything tightens up here, which will tighten our whole chest, our whole shoulder area. It'll go in and kind of radiate up into the base of the skull. And simultaneously, when there's tightness in the base of the skull, that can cause headaches, that can cause, like, to be honest, it can actually activate some emotional connections within anxiety and just kind of creating heaviness, because there's literal physical restriction that's going up and into the constructs, or that's a common word today, up into the brain and into that area. It's just holding things. So there's not a gentle fluidity that's occurring within the cerebral fluid, which is super, super important for us to feel energetic, for us to be able to think clearly. So focus, creativity, being able to take in our environment, our hormones. I mean, there's so much that occurs. So when we're tight, through the neck, this neck can go upwards into the base of the skull and affect things in that area, as well as go down and into that area, into our shoulder blades, and even ripple effect, because again, our body is so intricately designed to really be hosting each other, or be supporting each other, or kind of working against each other depending on what's going on. So when your neck is tight, works into the shoulder blades, works towards that spine, and it can really tighten things up in a lot of areas quite quickly. So this whole unloading of the word self-sabotage, I find, is very activating for that upper body. You can, for some people, even just beginning to lean into, how do I self-sabotage myself? In what ways? Is it emotional? Is it physical? Is it mental? Is it spiritual? Or is it, feeling? Another way that I describe spiritual is just connection to not just myself, just connection in general. And so, if any of those areas are feeling, and again, when we're really excelling, when we're really kind of leaning into that forward movement, inevitably there is going to be a block, something that holds you back, something that begins to maybe form in your emotional state, maybe it forms in your mental state, and we can talk about that. They usually have a lot of links.